and welcome back to another episode of Massholes with Mikes. This is our Week 5 picks episode. A little bit of a letdown coming off of the amazing Brady-Belichick reunion game that we were talking about for a lot last week, excuse me. But we do have a 3-person show today. Kyle, unfortunately, not able to join us, but that means Jordan is stepping up. Jordan will be the picks extraordinaire host as we go through it. We also have Jaclyn alongside here, me, Jeremy, going through the rest of the Week 5 slate. There are a couple of good games. I know Jaclyn's Browns are locked in a big game with the Chargers out in LA. The Sunday night game is a rematch of the AFC Championship game, but we're going to start on Thursday night because I don't know if Jaclyn actually got to say her pick on the podcast because she missed the last episode. So Jordan, I'm going to let you take it away here.
Yeah, so we, as in Kyle, Jeremy, and myself, all went with the Rams in our episode on, I think it actually got released yesterday, I want to say.
Tuesday.
The picks portion? Tuesday, correct.
Tuesday, yeah.
The picks portion got released on Tuesday. So we haven't gotten Jaclyn's pick, and Jaclyn, take it away.
I'm picking the Seahawks mostly because I wanted to be different.
It's nice because we usually sweep. We've been sweeping a lot.
Yeah. So, but no, I also think that they're a good team, and I feel like they're a team that will play up to another good team. So that's why.
Undefeated in those lime green uniforms that they're wearing tonight as well. I don't know if you guys saw that. They're wearing them. The ones that make them look like Mike Wazowski.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. Seriously.
Hey, we roll. All right, so we might as well just jump right in. We have a team that notoriously chokes and did again last week against the Washington football team versus a team that got their first victory of the season and might be oozing imposter syndrome because they faced the injury-depleted Tennessee Titans and still had to take overtime to win that game. We have the Atlanta Falcons at home hosting the New York Jets. Kyle went with the Jets, and we will start this cycle with Jeremy.
All right, so this game is actually in London. We get London football for the first time this year, waking up
right.
early and
that's
watching
right.
it.
I forgot about that.
9:30.
Might be on NFL Network.
I am 0 for 1.
6:30.
I'm 0 for 1 right now.
So I'm going to be taking the Jets in this game. The Falcons are without Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. 2 more weapons not at Matt Ryan's disposal. That defense is absolutely putrid. So I'm actually going to take the Jets in the upset. I think it would be kind of funny. Just to see the Jets win 2 games. Patriots will also win this week. I'm going to foreshadow my pick a little bit, but I think the Jets get another win against an NFC opponent this time around.
And so I'll go next, and I honestly don't want to pick either of these teams. I trust neither of these teams to actually get the job done on Sunday, but for sake of having to pick a team, because I'm not going to pick a tie. That would be ludicrous. That rarely happens. I'm going to also be taking the Jets. I think that they are going to be a team that feasts on injury-depleted rosters, and that'll be how they get to their 5-12, 6-11 record that they will finish with. So I will take the Jets to win their second consecutive game and instill a little bit of faith in Jets Nation, only for it to come to a screeching halt probably next week. I don't know who they're facing, but it'll probably be next week.
I think it's the Patriots. I'm pretty sure it's the Patriots.
Next week.
Jaclyn?
Again, to be different, I'll choose Atlanta. I think, even though they have those injuries, London games are such a toss-up. They're dealing with the time difference. They're dealing with playing in a stadium that may not necessarily be made for football, American football, I should say. It's definitely made for English football. So I will go with the Falcons, might as well.
Why not? I mean, there's really no right answer here. You just kind of happen to. It's like
you have to choose a team.
Both these teams are lottery
choose
tickets.
Between 2 awful teams.
Yeah, both those teams are lottery tickets. You can't really win, but sometimes you get it right, and you're like, hey, maybe I got the magic touch here. Okay, so we're going to the next game. We got a team that's surprisingly 3-1 in the Cincinnati Bengals playing host to a team that. Honestly, I said the Jets have a little bit of imposter syndrome after their week. I have no idea what to make of the Green Bay Packers. They are going to Cincinnati. And I know I kind of hinted at this on the show we recorded on Monday that I think the Bengals, they're kind of in a little position where I don't know if they're legit or not. And I kind of want chaos to ensue. Like at the end of the baseball season, Chaos Ball was awesome. And I would love for that to be the AFC North this year. And I am going to be taking the Bengals to upset at home because, let's face it, even if they're favored or if it's a pick 'em, they're not really. They shouldn't be expected to win this game. So I'm going to take Cincy to improve to 4-1, which would be atop of the AFC North. So we will move on from there, and we'll go to Jaclyn.
As much as I want to pick the Bengals, I just can't do it. I don't fully believe in them as much as I want to. If they win this game, though, I will fully believe that this is like a legit team. But that who just signed with the Packers? Why am I
Jalen Smith,
Jalen Smith,
the linebacker.
Yeah. So is he playing this week?
I can't imagine. The Bucks only used Richard Sherman last week because they had no secondary. The Packers at least have linebackers.
Okay. Because I was gonna say that offensive line is still pretty bad. I'm pretty sure. So adding that piece would be pretty good for the Packers. But I'm hoping that the Bengals win. But I'm picking the Packers.
And before we go to Jeremy, just to keep this thing in motion, we're going to go with, or Kyle picked the Packers on Sunday. So now Jeremy.
And that would make it a traditional split here because I'm going to take this as my upset of the week. The Bengals are going to beat the Packers. The Bengals are going to win their third straight, and they're going to win 3 more after this. Mark it down. I will be picking the Bengals for the next 3 weeks, even in Baltimore. I think they're going to be 7-1 by the time they next lose a game. That would be hysterical. I mean, I like Joe Burrow. I was wrong on him. He's been better than I thought he was going to be.
Me too.
I think if their offensive line can protect him even for half a second, he can get it to those weapons, and they'll see what happens. Now, it is the Bengals. They are liable to choke many a game. But I think they can beat the Packers because the Packers are just one of those teams that perennially plays down to competition. Like, I think they only beat the Jags last year by 2 points. The Jags are 1-15 last year. Yeah, exactly.
Or Luton, however you pronounce that.
However you say his name.
700th round pick quarterback.
Exactly. The Packers play down to their competition almost as prolifically as the Steelers do. So I'm going to be taking the Bengals in the upset.
Yeah, and I think the Packers, didn't they were pretty close with the Steelers last week?
27-17.
Yeah, and I thought that there was if Twitter was correct, which it may not have been, but I'm pretty sure the Steelers got screwed on an offsides call that really kind of changed the complexion of the game.
They absolutely did.
Yeah.
Pat said that it was the first time that he has been sports angry in forever because of that offsides call combined with the play of his least favorite quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, made him mad at the Steelers. He was pissed.
Oh my goodness. So we will move on to the next game. We have the Minnesota Vikings that we thought had no chance of winning last week, which is why Jeremy and I picked them to win because we thought there was no chance. In reality, there was no chance. I'm just kidding. They only lost by a touchdown. It was a defensive showdown back and forth. Both quarterbacks played like relative ass, but one team had to end up winning, and it was the Browns by 7. So the Vikings, they are hosting the never seem to be able to find a way to win Detroit Lions with Jared Goofball.
Don't say that.
With Jared Goofball at quarterback, who I thought played pretty well the first few weeks of the season, not so much against the Lions. We saw why the Rams hated him in the last couple of seasons he was there, and I believe Jaclyn is starting off this one.
Ooh. I'll go with the Vikings. I think that I feel like I can't really pick the Lions ever. I don't know. I just think it's hard to pick the Lions.
That's a fair take.
I did this last week. You will regret it if you ever pick the Lions. Yeah. I did it immediately. Okay, so yeah. Kyle also went with the Vikings, and now moving on to Jeremy.
I think I'm going to regret this. So I'm going to take the Lions for the sole reason of watching last year. The Vikings had it going. They were 0-3, I think, to start the year. They won 2 straight games, and I go, now we go. Here they come. Because they looked better, and I think they beat Green Bay in one of those games. So I said, all right, they're really building momentum. They got the 1-4 Falcons coming up this week. You want to know what happened? They got destroyed, if I remember correctly. They got Matt Ryan threw like 4 touchdown passes in the first half, and they got smoked. So I'm going to make this a win-win for me. Either I get the pick right, or I am happy that the Vikings pulled out a win. Maybe Mike Zimmer gets fired. That would also be a win for me. So I think the Lions are going to win this game. Goff is going to throw for 4 touchdown passes in the win.
Oh my goodness! I learned my lesson from last week. I refuse to ever.
I did not learn your lesson, Jordan. Thank you.
I refuse to pick the Lions again unless for some reason T.J. Hawkinson turns into an all-world tight end. Jared Goff all of a sudden is an all-pro quarterback. Which are 2 things. I mean, one of them is possible to happen because T.J. Hawkinson's a stud, but Jared Goofball being an all-pro quarterback. I mean, Come on now. That ain't going to happen. I'm picking the Vikings. I probably would have picked them anyway. But after last week especially, I have absolutely no reason to pick the Detroit Lions to win anything.
Dan Campbell is a boob.
Yes. Although he is a very analytical guy, supposedly, which is probably another reason why a lot of people that watch football hate Dan Campbell.
He likes to stuff spreadsheets down his throat. That's the only thing he knows about analytics. I've been on multiple tangents. I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram story today, but I was on my roommate Jeff's podcast last night where we talked, and I went on a 3-minute rant about how Dan Campbell has no need for an actual office space. You should just give him like a little wall in the gym to work out in front of, and he'd be completely happy and use the space more than if he had an actual office to work in. He sucks.
He would be pretty
Yet
happy.
I'm picking them this week. That should be a testament to how little I believe in this Vikings team.
Moving on, we have the Denver Broncos, who were unable to get their first win against a team with a win last week, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, who hung tough against the Green Bay Packers last week and may have gotten screwed out of a win, even though they lost by 2 scores. Does anybody have any faith in Big Ben to pull out a victory here against the Broncos? It is at Heinz Field. That is worth noting.
I don't like that now. I forgot
Jeremy,
about that.
Jeremy's going to technically have to lead. I'm going to share that. Kyle chose the Steelers to win this one and defend their home field. Yes, he did.
All right, I like that then. I'll double down with Kyle and take the Steelers because the biggest deciding factor for me in this is Teddy Bridgewater going to play? I don't think they know yet because he's concussed. So that means Drew Lock is heading into Pittsburgh. And as much as I hate Pittsburgh and I loathe that offense, it's god-awful and it hurts to watch. That defense still plays. TJ Watt is a monster. He's, I think, tied for second in the league in sacks right now, despite having missed 2 games out of 4, which is insane. I'm going to be taking the Steelers and their defense. Forget the offense. The offense can stay with Denver and be in that loss category. I'm just going to take the defense and I'm going to win this game.
So I'll go next, and this is the perfect game for Drew Lock to just play out of his mind, because this is what he did his rookie season. He came in with no expectations of really kind of turning the offense around. He played like a stud quarterback. I know he turns the ball over too much. He holds the ball for too long a lot, and that could lead to a lot of unnecessary sacks and maybe an interception or 2 on Sunday, but I do not really think there's anything that the Steelers offense can do that would instill any confidence in me. I think this game will ultimately be close for the combination of 2 things, the Steelers offense being inept and Drew Lock with his Brett Favre syndrome, but I think the Broncos will be able to pull it out in the end.
Yeah, I'm going to double down with what Jordan said. I think that I don't have any faith in Ben Roethlisberger. I think that he's going to throw at least 2, maybe 3 interceptions and get booed off the field. I think that Denver will win.
Will we see Dwayne Haskins play in this game?
Did you hear what the Steelers said to, I don't remember who had the quote. It may have been Garofalo, I think. He said, the quote from the Steelers organization was, "Oh, heck no," direct quote, when asked if Big Ben will get benched. And he said no, he's sticking with them. So I would just also like to speak for Kyle here, who also took the Steelers, and say that it's very rare that we get a true sweep without actually picking the same team, because all 4 of us, and I don't even have to ask Kyle on this, all believe that Roethlisberger sucks and that offense sucks.
He's toast.
I'm pretty sure me and Kyle are just picking on the basis of home field and that defense, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I could. I could totally see the Steelers ending up winning this game, especially if it's Drew Lock at quarterback. But that offense, I don't know if they'll be able to score more than 14, 20 points, and I think the Broncos could get you into the end zone at least 3 times. So we will move on to the next game. We have the Miami Dolphins, and another team that just seems to be unable to get out of their own way, versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a team that is coming off of a loss in a game that really felt kind of like a loss because they played so sloppy throughout the entire game, I felt. So Jeremy's going to lead on this one. Bucks or Dolphins?
Bucks. It's
in
not even
Tampa
close.
Bay, yeah.
I mean, Miami is just so god-awful this year. It's not even funny. Now, that being said, I would be very happy if they beat them, but I just don't think there's a way.
If Miami beats the Bucks on Sunday, I legitimately don't know what I will do. I thought about it. I'm like, oh, will I get a tattoo? And I'm like, absolutely not. Why would I do that? But I don't want to commit to that, especially after I went to the ASU opener this season, the football team, and somebody actually got a tattoo of the Sun Devils logo because ASU won. I think it was against Duke. like 4 or 5 years
one of
ago.
the worst programs in the country.
No, it was for basketball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm not going to do that. But the Bucks are going to win by about 700 points because there is just no chance. There's no chance Jacoby Brissett's going to be able to hang with that defense, and the Bucks are going to absolutely smash the Dolphins defense. All right, Jaclyn.
Bucks.
Yeah, Kyle also went with the Bucks. No real surprise there. So we will move on. There's nothing really else to go over with that game. We have the Washington football team after their impressive come-from-behind victory against the Atlanta Falcons, the team of the choke, versus the New Orleans Saints, who just lost in overtime to the New York Football Giants. I am going to lead on this one. I really don't want to lead on this one. This game is in Washington. I am going to take the football team narrowly to beat the Saints. I'm not really sold on Jameis Winston. That team is too Jekyll and Hyde for me, and I think that the talent level on the Washington defense will eventually come around, and I think that they will end up winning this one. Very close, but they will end up pulling this one out. Jaclyn?
I also agree. I think that the Washington football team will win. I'm still pretty high on that defense. I don't know why. I just am.
I mean, they have talent. They have plenty of talent.
Yeah. They just don't really have much to show for it yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing them play the Saints. I think that it will be interesting to see how Kamara plays into this game. But I think that Chase Young will get some action there. So I'm going with the football team.
He's going to force Jameis Winston to throw something stupid. We already know that's a given. So Kyle went with the Saints, and we will move quickly to Jeremy.
Jaclyn, can you just quickly get your just comeuppance on this one for telling me and Jordan that it was the stupidest pick of all time to take the Giants in New Orleans? Now, I don't do this often, but you did parade, and rightfully so. You paraded around that Chargers pick that you got over the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago, so I felt it was only fair as a little bit of retribution. I'm not gonna make you say anything. Fair. I just wanted to put that out there. No, so now we're even, and that's what matters.
As soon, I think that mine was a little bit better.
Oh, of course, it was harder. It was objectively a harder game to win.
Without doubt, especially since Mahomes.
It was just because I really, laid it all out there. So
yeah, it was only because you doubled down on the podcast before that I was like, I'll remember this if they had managed to pull it out. Okay. All right, moving on past that, I am going to take the Saints and even up with Kyle again. Jekyll and Hyde means that the good Saints will hopefully show up this Sunday in Washington. Unlike Jaclyn, I actually don't believe in this defense. I've been very underwhelmed. I thought they were going to be so much better than they are so far this year. I like the Saints' rushing attack. I still think that offensive line plays even without Teron Armstead. Alvin Kamara is going to go for 150-plus scrimmage yards, and the Saints are going to win.
Ooh, this is becoming the new split this year. It's Jaclyn and myself, or at least this week, Jaclyn and me versus Jeremy and Kyle. So the next game on the docket is the Eagles, who I thought played pretty well for much of that game against the Chiefs. I know they ended up losing by, 3 scores, like 42-23 or something?
42-30, actually.
42-30? I thought they played really well in that game for most of it. I know they turned the ball over a couple times, or there was a really bad fumble that Jalen Hurts had that they ended up recovering. It lost like 30 yards. But I thought they hung pretty tough. They are going to Carolina to face the team that now owns the rights to Stephon Gilmore.
We will get to that later.
We will talk about it.
Yes,
sure.
we will get to that when we get to the Patriots very briefly.
He's not going to be playing on Sunday, obviously, but the Carolina Panthers, fresh off their first loss of the season. I believe Jaclyn is leading on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Panthers. I think that they're a good team, and I just don't think that I don't know. I don't like Philly. I just don't.
I mean, that's about as good a reason as any I've heard to take the Panthers.
It is.
I like the Panthers.
I'm going to piggyback on that, and I know Jordan's going to get to Kyle's pick later, but I'm taking the Panthers, and I would just like to cede the rest of my time to say that I enjoy watching the smoking corpse of a franchise pick through the dead carcass of just the rest of the NFL. They have no options to go to. They're devoid of talent because of various injuries and letting guys sign elsewhere. They have a couple of guys on each side of the ball, and that's about it at this point.
Not to mention that the Eagles also have so much money going to Carson Wentz on that dead cap hit.
Exactly. Nothing makes me happier than to watch the Eagles suffer, especially after that simulated Super Bowl that we had a couple of years ago. I don't really know what happened. It must have been a video game or something, because that never happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, Panthers.
Yeah, and before I go, I will say that Kyle also took the Carolina Panthers in this one. I'm going to make it a clean sweep. I think that's the first one we've had so far, other than the Bucs.
Buccaneers, yeah.
Well, yeah, other than the Bucs. So I'm going to make it a clean
Good
sweep.
for us. Look at us differing from each other. I'm proud of us.
For sure. Next up is the Tennessee Titans, coming off of a crushing defeat, an injury-riddled crushing defeat at the hands of the New York Jets, which still blows me away that they ended up losing that game. I thought for sure once I went to OT they were going to win. They are going to Jacksonville to face who on earth knows.
Another smoking carcass of a franchise.
Before we get into the pick, did you hear how the Jags trolled Urban Meyer during practice?
No.
Their first practice. They broke the huddle by saying grind instead of break.
Oh, it's so bad, but it's so perfectly Jags.
It is so perfectly Jags. Nobody in that locker room respects him, and their owner even said he has to earn the organization's trust and respect back. If it's that bad, can his ass. What is he still doing there? And I know that, so for starters, Kyle picked the Titans, and I know Jeremy is technically supposed to go, but I want to finish my rant by poetically saying the Tennessee Titans are going to win by about 60, because the Jags are so dysfunctional, and I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence, because he has absolutely zero chance of winning this one, and I know I messed up the order, so I'll let Jeremy go next.
I was so tempted to pick the Jags in this game. You have no idea. I was feeling it. I go, I'm totally going to pick them. But the worst thing that could have possibly happened for the Jags happened, and it wasn't Urban Meyer pulling that stunt last week. It was the Titans losing to the Jets. That was the real downfall of the Jaguars this week. The Titans are going to be pissed. King Henry is going to take multiple people to the grave and pillage their villages and everything. He is on a rampage, and he's going to absolutely destroy the Jaguars' defense. Titans by a bajillion. Yep. That is a scientific term, by the way. You don't have to look it up. I already told you. Facts be damned.
Jaclyn?
Titans.
Yeah.
Fire Urban Meyer, PR
Seriously.
nightmare.
Seriously. Like, I don't know how he's still
I don't know how
employed. Like, what?
I think it's only hubris from the owner that doesn't want to admit that he made a mistake 4 games into a season. That's the only thing keeping him around, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the next one, we will skip over the Patriots game until very last, as we normally do. We are going to Vegas with the Raiders, fresh off of their first loss of the season at the hands of the Los Angeles Chargers, and they are taking on the Chicago Bears, fresh off of Justin Fields' first career win as an NFL starter. I was very proud of him last week. Since I skipped Jeremy and went first last time, I'll let him go.
So this one's a hard one. The Raiders obviously coming off of that Monday night loss to the Chargers. I'm going to take the Bears in Vegas, but I'm not super confident about this pick. They lost David Montgomery, but I think with the Raiders, for whatever reason, the Raiders in our lifetime specifically have been more of it's a mentality thing with them. So when they lose one, they lose in bunches. They never can stop a losing streak at one. It doesn't seem like, at least. So I'm going to take the Bears. They're gonna win this game in Vegas, and then I guess party because it is Vegas after the game.
Fair enough. I'll skip over myself and go last because I cut in line last pick. So I'll let Jaclyn go.
I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I don't believe in the Bears. That's simple enough. I think that this Raiders team obviously started undefeated for the first 3 weeks for a reason. And I think that they just played what I would consider the hottest team in the AFC right now last week, and that was why they lost. So overall, I just think that this Raiders team is actually pretty good. And I think that coming off of playing the Chargers, it's good to play a team like the Bears that is still a challenging opponent and will still give you somewhat of a run for your money, but you know that you can have the game plan to beat them because of their quarterback, because they haven't been reliable. And so for that reason, I'm choosing the Raiders.
It would be funny if the Bears, because I don't know if you saw this, the Bears actually have a schedule this year where they don't play 2 home games or 2 road games in a row. It's road home, road home, road home, road home all
That's
the way through the
crazy.
season. I think it would be funny if they alternated wins and losses throughout the season. Loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. I think it'd be pretty funny.
That would be pretty funny. And
Undefeated at home, winless on the road.
That would be hilarious. I'm going to make this a traditional Jeremy, Jordan versus Jaclyn and Kyle split, as Kyle went with the Raiders. I'm going to take the Bears. I was very impressed with how they played last week, albeit against the Detroit Lions. I don't really have faith in the Raiders. I know I said last week that I knew the nosedive was coming. I thought it wouldn't be last week. I was actually going to pick them to lose this week for their first loss of the season. And after losing last week, I couldn't be more sure of things, which is precisely why they'll probably end up winning now. But I'm taking the Bears because I think that they were able to figure something out with how to get Justin Fields, and play to his strengths and let him just chuck the ball down the field. Because Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson are two pretty damn good receivers. And if he can get the ball to them, and it obviously has Cole Kmet as well, they should be able to pull this one out. So moving on, we have the Cleveland Browns versus... Basically, this is both of Jaclyn's teams because we got the Browns versus Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers.
I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, she's
really
got a lead.
challenging for me.
Yep.
It's really challenging for me because I have just been so high on the Chargers this year. I think that they are such a good team. Their social media presence is sick. It's just memes. I'm obsessed with it. I feel like the team is so likable, and the Browns are obviously my second team. However, they just came off of a horrible win, and the Chargers are riding a high. It's in LA. I feel like there isn't that much of an impact going from East to West Coast, but it still could impact them a little bit being on the road. And that stadium, I feel like it gets pretty loud.
It does.
So
Shockingly, but it is a
see.
Chargers game. So I mean, the Raiders had a de facto home game last week.
Yeah, but anyways, I think that I'm gonna choose the Chargers, not the Browns. I think that I know this is like the first time I'm choosing against them all season.
Maybe
but
in the last 3 seasons, if we're being honest.
I know, it's so
Seriously.
true. But I am so high on the Chargers this year. I honestly, I don't even know if I hope I'm wrong. I hope that it's a tie.
Tie watch.
So Kyle also went against his Oklahoma Sooners quarterback, and he went with the Chargers. I was very surprised when I saw that myself. I thought at the very least one of Jaclyn or Kyle was going to ride with Baker, but neither did. So, Jeremy, will you be the first one to ride with Baker Mayfield into the sunset?
God, no. The Chargers are going to win this game. I've been very impressed with what I've seen from them. I actually picked Justin Herbert as my MVP before the year started. He didn't have a good start to the year. His first couple of games were it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. The last 2 have been a lot better against the Chiefs and the Raiders, 2 divisional opponents. Baker Mayfield has a partially torn labrum. I knew he was hurt when he went out against the Texans, and he didn't look good against the Vikings last week. If I'm the Browns, I would seriously consider letting him rest a week. And I think the Browns are going to lose with or without him. Just let Case Keenum play. He is a capable backup. He started many games in this league and won many games.
Went
for
to
the
an
Vikings.
NFC title game.
Exactly. I think that benching Baker, it's not even a benching. It's it's protecting him from himself because he wants to play through it. Is not the worst idea if you're Cleveland. Also, shout out to my roommate last year, Anton, Browns fan. He is in the Emerson LA campus this semester. He will be going to the game with his dad. So
oh my
good
for him.
He gets to experience that stadium, and I told him I want a full in-depth report after this because that thing looks insane.
It does.
It does.
And this is 2 teams that I refuse to buy in on. And I don't know necessarily why, but you can if you listen to
even the Chargers
shows. Yeah. These are 2 teams that if you listen to our previous shows, I religiously pick against them. So this is going to be tough because now I have to pick one of them to win. I'm going to go with the clean sweep and take the Chargers as well, basically for the reasons you 2 have already mentioned. The Chargers are one of the hottest teams in the AFC, and the Browns with Baker and his injury, it looks pretty tough it's tough to pick them. And if I'm the Chargers, I don't put anybody on Odell Beckham, and I let Baker Mayfield throw to him with his crazy little. He looks like a completely different human being throwing the ball to Odell Beckham in like a bad way. He looks so comfortable slinging it to everybody, and then he's like, oh, Jeter, when he's throwing it to Odell. It's insane. I'm going to take the Chargers and complete the clean sweep here.
If you look at these units in this game, the weakest unit on either side of the ball is probably the Browns offense, because the Chargers defense has been great. The Browns defense has been a big surprise. I know Kyle touched on that last episode, and the Chargers offense kind of speaks for itself with Eckler and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. The Browns offense has yet to get fully clicking. Part of that, I think, is that Nick Chubb has not had the year. By Nick Chubb standards, it's not good. By most running back standards, it's a very good year so far. He will get back on track, but I don't know if this is going to be the game to do it. The Chargers still have, I know Kenneth Murray's on IR, but Derwin James, Asante Samuel, Kyle touched on all these guys before. But, I mean, you look at this roster, and they're just absolutely loaded at most positions.
Yep, for sure. Moving on to the next one, we have a battle of the NFC least. I mean, it's not really that anymore, because I think the Cowboys are a pretty damn good football team, and they asserted their dominance last week against the Carolina Panthers, who I don't know if anybody picked them last week, the Panthers to win.
No, we all picked the Cowboys.
We all picked the Cowboys. Yeah.
Yep.
And it looked, I mean, like I said, they asserted their dominance last week against the Giants, who came off of a relatively surprising overtime victory against the Saints. I believe, or Kyle, I'll just read his pick because he would have been next. He went with the Cowboys to improve to 4-1 on the season. Jeremy, who are you going to go with?
Cowboys in a divisional game. I like them here. This is going to be interesting because this is actually the anniversary of the Dak injury, not necessarily to the game. I'm pretty sure it's pretty close, but it was the home game against the Giants in which he snapped his ankle in like 16 pieces. So I want to see Dak do well in this game simply for his confidence, that mental block that might still be there. I think the Cowboys are a loaded roster, and Daniel Jones has had 2 decent weeks in a row, and there's no way in hell he puts together a third one.
He's really had 4. Like, he's played pretty well overall this season. I feel like a lot of Giants fans are like, oh, maybe this Daniel Jones guy for, a first-round pick out of Duke is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I'm going to double down and take the Cowboys. Well, I guess triple down and take the Cowboys as well. I think this is the week Dak cements himself as an MVP candidate. I think he'll throw over 350-plus yards and 4 touchdowns without turning the ball over. He's a stud. That offense is loaded, and I think they're legit. I honestly think I gave them not enough credit in the offseason or in the preseason.
Same.
And I don't think they'll be an NFC title game contender, but they could make some noise in the playoffs, especially in that first game if they end up against either Tampa Bay or the Rams. I'm going to take the Cowboys. Jaclyn?
I'm also taking the Cowboys. They're good.
They're very good.
They're good. Cowboys confirmed good.
They're
sad.
They are # good. My dad's got to be very
and
happy.
They realistically could be 5-0.
They could be.
Or 3.
4-0. 4-0. You're right.
4-0.
Yeah,
It should be 4-0.
They could realistically be 4-0.
Think of it this.
If that call goes the other way in the first game.
Think of it this way. Yeah. Think of it this way. The Patriots are a fumble and a kick away from being 3-1. The Bucs are, the Cowboys going for it and a kick away from being 1-3, and the Cowboys are going for it in week 1 away from being 4-0. Who'd have thought that? I know that was a little bit of a convoluted statement, but I
I saw an argument that was if the Vikings hadn't fumbled against the Bengals, missed a field goal against the Cardinals, and had a PI call for them against the Browns, they would be 4-0, and that one kind of hurt because they're the team that I like, and they're doing absolutely terribly right now.
That PI call was also disgusting as well.
It's just I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good.
All right, so the next game we have it should be an interesting one. It's starting to look like Trey Lance is going to make his first NFL start, which is very intriguing. I've been very interested in seeing how he develops. I know he's more of a project than anything, kind of like Giannis was when he came over from Greece. When he came over from yogurt, when he came over from Greece to play in Milwaukee. I think Trey Lance is a very similar kind of player, obviously, because he's more of a project as a quarterback. Against the Arizona Cardinals, who are undefeated right now, but I think this matchup is very interesting, and I'm pretty sure Jeremy is leading on it.
So I would first like to take the opportunity to crap on Jimmy G a little bit. I've been a guy who said that I wouldn't mind getting him back, and I know Jordan was definitely against that. Man, were you right, because Lord, did you see his post-game interview where he left the game because of a calf bruise, and he said, hopefully I'm not out 4+ weeks. I believe that was the quote. Dude, you have a bruise and you're going to be out 4 weeks? You think you're going to be out 4 weeks? Kyle Shanahan had to come out the next day and say, no, he could play this week. You just have to see how it goes in practice. Like, are you serious? You said you were going to be out a month.
Booty syndrome.
Due to if that was my quarterback, I'd be yelling for him to get back in the game, let alone be out a week or even 4 weeks if you're Jimmy G. I'm going to take the Cardinals. They're absolutely rolling. I regretted not picking them last week as soon as I said the Rams, because that was definitely one of the games that I was most on the fence about. The Cardinals have the MVP frontrunner in Kyler Murray. And until somebody manages to slow him and his quick feet down, he still runs the ball faster than anyone I've ever seen from at the quarterback position, because I am not old enough to remember prime Michael Vick with the Falcons. This dude is an absolute menace with his feet, and he can throw too. I love Kyler Murray. He's electrifying to watch, and he deserves to be the MVP at the end of the year if he keeps this up.
Yep, I agree 100%. And I also regretted picking the Cardinals last week because remember, I literally talked myself into picking the Cardinals and still went with the Rams last week. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I'm going to learn my lesson. They are a very legit team. I thought they were going to come in last in the NFC West. And it wasn't like an indictment on them. I just thought this division was too stacked, and I thought the Niners were one of the teams that are better. And I honestly think the Niners kind of suck a little bit. Now. So it's amazing what happens when you have a sample size to work with. I'm taking the Cardinals. Jaclyn, you're going to go with the clean sweep here?
Clean sweep. I don't see how oh my God, I said the Giants.
It's that type of night, people. Don't
I'm
worry. We're getting there.
about
We're getting there.
baseball. I'm literally watching. It's because I'm watching baseball.
Yeah, breaking the fourth wall. The Red Sox are on.
Fourth wall.
So
and losing.
And it's a bullpen game.
We'll get there.
Somebody should tell the Red Sox that they're on right now.
Yeah,
nice.
Someone should.
But yeah, also
strikeout. That's good.
Yep. Like I said, clean sweep. So Kyle, obviously, as we know from every single episode, he is not going to pick against the Cardinals no matter who they're facing, and obviously, so he picked the Cardinals this week. So one of the matchups of the week, and probably the matchup of the week, is between two powerhouses of the AFC. The team that I said last episode is the team to beat in the AFC versus the team I said will be the team to beat by week 10. It is the Buffalo Bills hosting the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. It's an Arrowhead. I'm very conflicted because I think the Bills are nasty, and I think the Chiefs are very much they're really kind of, I don't know what the word is I'm looking
coasting?
for. They're coasting. It's almost like they're turning themselves into the Patriots of the last, 4 years of Brady, where they struggle those first 4 weeks and then turn it on. But the thing is, they don't have the 3 Super Bowls to allow them to do that, where we are like, oh, they'll figure it out. I very reluctantly am going to take Kansas City. I just think that crowd noise, the Arrowhead environment, it'll be too much for the Bills to overcome. I don't think the Chiefs will really do much to change my opinion of who the team to beat is right now in the AFC, but I think they'll do enough to end up pulling the game out on Sunday night. Jaclyn?
The Chiefs' defense sucks.
It is very bad.
They are so bad. They're so bad.
And
until they make an improvement on their defensive side, I don't think that they're the team to beat in the AFC anymore. I think that the team to beat in the AFC is Buffalo or the Chargers. Currently, Kansas City has been playing like crap.
They have been.
To put it frankly, at least Patrick Mahomes has been playing well because he's my fantasy quarterback. So I'm rooting for Patrick Mahomes to do well. But I think that the Bills are going to win. And I don't know. I think that this is like the game for the Bills. If they win this game, I think that they host the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I could see it. I for sure can see it. Kyle also went with Buffalo, so is Jeremy going to create the traditional split, or is he going to leave me alone on an island?
Kyle gave me the pick I wanted. All right. Do you guys remember over the years when teams would come at the Patriots And the Patriots could look really, really bad. But when push came to shove and a big opponent came into Foxborough in a primetime game or any game whatsoever, the Patriots would beat them. That is how I feel with the Chiefs and the Bills. The Bills can do whatever and whenever they want. It doesn't matter. Thursday night, Tuesday night last year, I think, was that Bills game against the Chiefs. It was weird because it got pushed back due to COVID and buys and stuff. The Chiefs always seem to beat the Bills. So if there was ever a time for the Bills to beat the Chiefs, it would be right now. Because as Jaclyn said, their defense blows. Absolutely god-awful. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this game. I think that the Arrowhead crowd is too much for the Bills. I think they're going to crack under the pressure. And I think the Chiefs can go score for score with them, which none of the teams that they've beaten on this little 3-game winning streak can do. That's the problem. Side note, though, I like what Jaclyn said, that if the Bills win, they're going to be hosting the AFC title game. We were talking about this last night with, again, I'm going to mention my roommate Jeff. I was on his podcast. We were talking about the biggest storyline left in the league. He mentioned the fact that the Chiefs dynasty could be over before it started, because you got to win multiple titles to be considered a dynasty. And guess what? What have the Chiefs not had to do over this run where they've reached 3 straight AFC championships, 2 Super Bowls, and won one? They've never had to play a playoff game on the road. And I would really like to see that. I want to see them. I want to see the Chiefs get tested, and that would be a good environment to test them in. But we'll get there later on in the season. For now, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Fair enough. And now we're going to a matchup on Monday Night Football that I think preseason looked like a very interesting matchup, because I know Jeremy had the Colts winning the division outright. Yep. I had them, I think, coming in second. I think I still had Tennessee just slightly better. It might have been a tie with them sweeping the series. I don't remember. But I thought they were going to be vying for the division. I don't remember what Jaclyn had for them preseason, but ultimately...
I don't remember either.
ultimately, they're...
I have no idea.
It's a good thing. Your take won't age badly then, because we don't know what the take was.
I think I said that they were going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ultimately, they're not okay. They're 1-3.
Yeah.
Their quarterback is not okay because his ankles are shot, and their backups are not necessarily NFL caliber quarterbacks in Jacob Eason and Sam Ellinger. They're both rookies, and they're both projects. But again, behind Carson Wentz, who I thought was going to have a rebound season, and that has just not happened to this point. I believe Kyle was slated to lead this one, so I will let him. I can't let him. He's not here. What am I talking about? I will read his pick. He picked the Ravens to win, and I will now let this go over to Jeremy before I say something else that's dumb.
Ravens are going to win. I mean, Indy has just really disappointed me. I would like them to win this game. I don't want to see Baltimore have any success, especially after their stunt running the ball last week when they didn't need to. But I'm going to root for the Colts, but I don't think they have the horses to pull it off.
I think the Ravens are going to win by a lot. I don't think this will be particularly close. The Colts defense has really disappointed me for a lot of the season, and Wentz is not right. Those weapons are okay, but I'm not really in love with the Colts like I was preseason. Jaclyn?
I think also the Ravens. I wish that the Colts were better, but it's just not happening.
All right, so that's every single pick minus, our boys, the New England Patriots, and I will shoot this one back to Jeremy.
All right, so we're going to talk for maybe 5 minutes max about the Stephon Gilmore release and turned into a trade. Traded for a 2023 6th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers. And the important thing to recognize for me here, at least, is that they used said money to go and sign Jamie Collins to the roster, a player who, by all accounts, wanted to be here. You don't know with Stephon Gilmore. It sounded like contract negotiations went poorly. I ask you guys, in hindsight, should the Patriots have traded Gilmore last year when they knew that they weren't going to compete for a championship, when they knew that it was a little bit of a retooling year? Is it fair to question Bill Belichick on that, whether or not they should have traded him, where they could have at least gotten a 3rd-round pick at the very worst for the reigning Defensive Player of the Year heading into 2020? Jordan, I'm going to let you start on this one.
So in hindsight, I think there's definitely grounds to criticize Belichick, but I think with the way that last season was, you were in a situation where you kind of needed to keep your guys sold on the idea of playing, especially since they were already the team that led the league in opt-outs. A lot of veteran players on the team, and I feel like if they had traded Gilmore, those veterans like McCourty and who am I blanking? Slater would have probably retired in the offseason because they've been like, there's absolutely no direction this team is going in. I know they traded him for a pick, but that's my guy. That's Stephon Gilmore. That's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. So I understand why he didn't trade him, but obviously in hindsight, you would have gotten more. As for the trade itself, if the alternative was releasing him because nobody would have traded for him, you got something for him. That's better than nothing. And then I obviously I look at this trade as Gilmore for a sixth and Jamie Collins, because you wouldn't have signed Collins if you didn't trade Gilmore. And I think Jamie Collins has a legitimate role on this team, because I texted in the chat, or at least I thought I did, maybe I didn't, that I think they should consider moving Hightower to edge. I know I'm ranting on this one, but I think they should consider moving Hightower to edge, because he's much better. Now. He's much better as a pass rusher, and I think you can get away with Bentley or Collins as the middle linebacker with Uche and Van Noy, and you can even, when he's healthy, Ronnie Perkins can get some run at outside linebacker. I think you can get away with it.
And Chase Winovich.
Even though I think he sucks, you could give him a chance at least to try and work his way out of the slump. And then obviously you have a little bit more versatility on the line. But I think ultimately better than getting nothing for him.
Jaclyn's resigned shrug was all you needed to know there about her opinion of Chase Winovich over the last couple of months.
Oh.
Jaclyn, what do you think? What was your reaction to the release in the morning? Because I think you were the one who texted about it first in our chat. I don't think I was awake. That was the first thing I saw when I woke up.
I literally woke up. It was like 7:30 maybe in the morning. The first thing I see when I look at my phone is that they're releasing him. And I'm immediately like, what the heck is going on? Like, why are you releasing him? This makes no sense. But I don't know. I'm like, it kind of does make sense. If you wanted, there was clearly a lack of relationship going on there, and I really don't think that. Let me rephrase.
No, I think you're right though.
Yeah, there's just like there was
a disconnect.
Something went wrong. Yeah, a disconnect. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. So there was a disconnect in the relationship there, and if he didn't, if they were putting him on the injured reserve or the pup, right?
Yeah,
pup
list.
Is that what he was on? Then for nothing, that's clearly an indicator that both sides can't come to an agreement. And so it's better, in my eyes, to part ways when you're still thinking highly of the other side than let it get gross and dirty and make your organization look bad, especially with a respected player like Stephon Gilmore. Let him choose a team that he wants to go to, try and work out a trade with that team, which is what it kind of seems like he did, and go your separate ways. It sucks, but what can you do? And you get Jamie Collins back in the package. I think it overall, would it have been nice to trade him last year? Maybe. Was this team going to do anything last year? No. Would it kind of be a waste? Yeah. I think that he was one of the bright spots on the team last year. I think that maybe they tried to trade him in the offseason, couldn't get like a good, because he had that like quad injury like towards the end of the year.
Ruptured his quad.
And so I think that kind of hindered the trade acquisitions that could occur in the offseason. But overall, I think it was a good trade. I'm happy that there are no hard feelings from either side, supposedly.
Yeah, I agree. Publicly, it sounded like they mutually agreed that they were going to try and find Gilmore a new home. So I guess at this point, it's about recouping kind of standing among the league, because Gilmore is one of the more respected players. Obviously, reigning Defensive Player of the Year, his word carries a lot of weight. So if you do right by him, that may pay you dividends down the road. It's just sad that he left, I guess, under these terms. Quickly, do you guys have a favorite Gilmore moment? Because mine was in the 2017 AFC title game. Bortles steps up on, I think, 4th and 13 down the middle. Gilmore like this. No one is going to be able to understand what I just did if they're listening. But he essentially stretches
no, I think
backwards
they will, you said
and
AFC
knocks
title
the thing
game.
away.
We all know the play.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, that moment, that was one of the few moments that I've ever, I guess, experienced where it feels like time stands still, and everyone in the stadium is just holding their breath as they watch him step up and throw this ball, and it looks like it's going to get completed. And Gilmore is just superhuman, basically looking like he's fading away and absolutely denies the pass. So I think D.D. Westbrook at the time. That was a great moment. I don't know if you guys had anything else you want to spotlight.
That might have been a top 5 incompletion ever, because that was a gorgeous throw by Blake Bortles of all people. Like that took a hell of a play. by Steph Gilmore to make that incomplete. And I did want to really quickly that's my play also, but I wanted to really quickly highlight on the fact that his statement when he left said it was with mixed emotions that he bids goodbye to New England, to the Patriots. And that alone made me think that there was a disconnect and he really kind of wanted out and he had one foot out the door when the season ended. Anyway, Jaclyn, you can go ahead.
I don't have a moment.
No, that's fine. Hey, that 2017 title game moment was by far my favorite, and I know a lot of people will still remember the play if I just describe it like that.
Yeah.
So I think that does it justice. All right, moving on to the game. I'm not going to do X factors in this one only because it is the Texans. They got absolutely wonky sloshed by the Bills last week, 40-0.
Wonky slosh.
Yeah, I heard that the other day on a podcast, and I knew I had to work it in. Essentially, they got knocked out. It was being used to describe. I don't remember what absolute bum one of the Paul brothers fought at one point and knocked him out, but they said he got wonky sloshed. I knew I had to use that word. All right, Texans, Patriots down in Houston. Patriots lost there last year, so I don't think any of us are necessarily going to pick them to lose. However, I think it's going to be a closer game than some people think. Coming off an emotional high from last week where the bright lights and the big game and the hype was coming in, I think the Patriots played up to their competition a little bit. Because it was a big moment, they wanted to put forth their best effort. And in terms of emotional letdown, that may be there this week. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops and if this game will remain close late into the fourth quarter. Would anyone like to lead on their pick? And on Jordan, when you go, you can definitely say Kyle's pick as well. I don't know if he put a score. I'm hoping he did.
He did.
Beautiful. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
All right.
I think that the Patriots are going to win. I think that this defense is coming off of playing a really good game. And so overall, I don't think that the Texans will score that many points. And I think that if Mac Jones keeps playing at the level that he played on Sunday night, we are in for a good 10 years, 12 years, if you will,
20?
hopefully.
Especially because if he keeps developing, if this is him as a rookie, and then he can hopefully cut down on taking unnecessary sacks when you could throw the ball away, throwing across his body for no God-given reason, almost throwing an interception down at the goal line. Just
putting
cut
his
out those.
body on the line by pushing his running back in the pile, just being smarter. I think, wow, we got a good one. Still don't
looking
know
a
how
hell of a
he
lot
dropped
better than Zach
15.
Wilson. I'll say that much.
So with that being said, I think I'm going to choose the Patriots, obviously, and I think I'm going to give it by a score of 24. No.
3 touchdowns and a field goal?
7.
All right, 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals.
Yes. 27-10.
Jordan.
So Kyle went with the Patriots as well. He picked 23-10 as his final score. And I think this week should be a very interesting one for the offense. I would love to see Mac, again, try and push the ball down the field again. I know that's not necessarily a strength, but I want to see him try it, even if it's a couple of drives that end up going down the toilet because of unnecessary shots on the field. I want to see him try. I don't want them to have to do trick plays to get 30-plus yards on a play. I want them to actually have their quarterback, make that kind of play. And I do really quickly before I go, to provide a little bit of context, the Patriots came off of a very moral high ground loss or moral victory last year, the COVID game against the Chiefs. And then they laid an absolute goose egg against the Broncos, who we all thought they were going to beat. They ended up losing that one. I'm not picking the Patriots to lose this one. I think they are going to win rather handily because I think the Texans are just another level of terrible with Davis Mills and his long neck at quarterback. I think... and this is a bit of a hot take because this never happens, I think there will be 2 Patriots that get 100-plus yards receiving on Sunday. I think Kendrick Bourne will be 100-plus yards, and I think Nelson Aguilar is going to catch a deep shot for about 75, maybe not 75, we'll go 65. It sounds a little bit more attainable, and then I think he'll be able to piece together a couple more receptions the rest of the game to get to 100. I think they'll both find the end zone, and I think my guy, N'Keal Harry, will find the end zone
my
as
word.
well
We knew you were working that in somehow.
My guy. I mean, he led the team. He led the team for receiving touchdown receptions last year, minus Rex Burkhead. He had 2.
Right,
he finds the end zone.
Wow, that's so sad.
Final score.
Who you pick? Yeah, score.
Final score is going to be Patriots 31 and the Texans 14.
I just had PTSD when you said N'Keal Harry had 2. They had the most touchdowns among the receivers or anyone not named Burkhead. It was 2.
Hey, Jacoby Myers still hasn't found the end zone. You know what? Actually,
Yeah.
let me change my hot take. N'Keal
No,
Harry
hang
won't
on.
get the touchdown. Jacoby Myers will finally find the end zone.
All right, I like that.
Better.
All right, so my turn here, finishing up. I'm going to take the Patriots in this game. Not exactly a shock. I'm going to take them to score 22 points. I think there's going to be a lot of field goals in this game. Unfortunately, I think the offense is going to bog down in the red zone, or Nick Folk is going to miss a kick. So I'm going to take them 22-10. That ostrich neck over there in Houston, I mean, they don't know what they're doing on offense. It is pretty sad. But as an aside, I want Patriots fans to think about this. This was the game that we all circled and said this was when Mac Jones was supposed to get his first start.
Yeah.
Imagine if he hadn't started last week against the Buccaneers. What would you be feeling heading into this game if the Patriots were 1-3 and benching Cam Newton? Interesting to think about, but it's definitely a testament to how he performed in training camp. I think that this is his 5th game of action and not his first, and we'll have to see if he continues to, find his receivers, because when they step back and they let him throw, he looked really good last week. So let's see if McDaniels does that again. We gave him a lot of credit on Monday's episode for calling a good game. Let's see if he can keep that ball rolling.
I do think we need to really quickly mention the fact that we also don't know who the hell is going to be blocking for him on Sunday. Does anybody want to change their score prediction knowing that they have no offensive line?
No, it's the Texans.
That's fair. I wanted to see if anybody Alex Redmond is getting reps as the first team right guard this week. I don't even know if that's even his name. It's something Redmond. I think it's Alex. I don't know. David Andrews is the only regular that is practicing right now.
At this point, it couldn't get any worse, is my take. It couldn't get any worse. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you, guys. Don't even go there. That's going to do it for us. Thank you, guys, for listening to all of our picks, especially the Patriots one, because obviously we are a Boston sports-centric podcast. Thank you for Jaclyn. Thank you to Jaclyn and Jordan for joining me. Please check us out on all of our social medias at Mass with Mikes on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe on Massholes with Mikes on YouTube. Going to be putting out more episodes. We have the mini one. I think we're going to have to start doing that with the 10 questions. According to mini version, Jaclyn's idea way long ago. I decided to take her up on it this past week, and I thought it worked pretty well. It's just a real pain to edit 2 of them, but we'll deal with it as we go. All right, so again, thank you to Jaclyn and Jordan for joining me. Hopefully Kyle can be back on Monday to react to the Patriots game on Sunday. Enjoy the Week 5 slate, starting with Thursday night football, which is already over by the time you guys are listening to this. So have a good rest of your day, everybody.